Hello and welcome back to another episode of I'm not very good at video recording, but I'm trying my best. Okay, so I've been designing for 4 years now, and I have a large backlog of patterns that have been released in written form, but that don't have videos. But I know that people really like videos and that they're very helpful, so I'm trying to make more of them. But I don't want to make the same things over and over again because that sounds super boring. So I have this pattern. You might recognize it. The Roxy Retro circle bag. It's gorgeous. It's retro. It's rainbow. And we're going to make it today. But I'm going to put a little twist on it. It's not going to be rainbow. It's going to be one color. It's going to be a fun little surprise at the end. And I hope you like it. You're going to need some worsted weight yarn. If you want to make the rainbow version, you're going to be looking at 5 or more colors. And feel free to use like a variety of brands. It doesn't really matter as long as they're similar. You're going to need a 4mm crochet hook, 2 stitch markers. That's going to be helpful. A 10mm button. This is optional, but this is a nice way to close the purse at the top. And in total, you're looking at about 275 yards of yarn for this one. I might also show you how to line it, so if you want to line it, grab some fabric, meet you at the end of the video, that'll happen there. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, let's start with a magic circle. I don't know how you guys do it, but I literally just make a little loop and hold it, and then I work into the loop. Super high tech. Round 1, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet 11 in the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. And then pull on your starting tail to close the middle of your circle. You should have 12 stitches. We're counting that chain 3 as a stitch. Round 2. If you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn between any 2 stitches. Then chain 3 and double crochet 3 in the same space. I'm going to go right in front of where my chain 3 is because that's going to be the closest space to that. So 1, 2, 3. You should have 1 chain 3 plus 3 double crochet stitches in the same space. That's going to count as 4 double crochet stitches. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches here, 1 and 2, and then we're going to double crochet 4 into that next space between stitches. 1, 2. Don't mind this weird little yarn vomit thing. 3 and 4. That's going to be your repeat all the way around. Skip the next 2 stitches and double crochet 4 in the space 2, 3, 4. Keep going like that. Skip 2, double crochet 4 in the next space until you get all the way back around, and I'll meet you there. All right, at the end of round 2, go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. And then if you're following along with the written pattern, you'll notice that I have cluster counts at the end of each row. Round 2 has 6 clusters. When I say cluster, I'm simply referring to stitches all worked into the same space. So in this round, they are clusters of 4, and there should be 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you have 6, then you are on the right track, and you are ready for round 3. If you're switching colors, attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters, and then go ahead and chain 3. Double crochet in the same space, which is going to be the space directly before your chain 3 here, if you're continuing on with the same color. Then we're going to double crochet 2 in between the second and third stitches of the next cluster. So we've got our cluster of 4 here. We're going to count 1, 2, and then we're going to go in between that second one and the third one. And we're going to make 2 double crochet stitches. And then we're going to double crochet 2 in between the current cluster, this cluster here, and the next cluster. 1 and 2. Show you one more time here. This is your pattern. Repeat all the way around. Double crochet 2 stitches in between the second and third stitches of the next cluster. 1, 2. Right there in between the second and third, we're going to make 1 and 2. Then we're going to double crochet 2 in between this cluster, our current cluster, and the next cluster, which will be right here. 1 and 2. All right, repeat that all the way around, and I will meet you at the end. When you make it all the way around, you're going to have something that looks like this. You're going to finish off by slip stitching to the top of the chain 3 to join. It's going to cup a little bit here. Cutest, tiniest little fairy bowl you ever saw. Don't worry, you're not doing anything wrong. That's just kind of how this pattern goes. It's going to straighten out later. At the end of round 3, you should have 12 clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 groups of stitches. If you do, you're ready to start round 4. If you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters. Then go ahead and chain 3. We're going to double crochet 3 stitches in the same space directly before that chain 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 3. Okay, then we're going to double crochet 4 stitches in the next space between clusters. So we've got this cluster of 2 here and this cluster of 2 here. We're going to go in between and double crochet 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. Just double crochet 4 stitches in between each cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that, all the way around, and I will meet you at the end. All right, if you've reached the end of round 4, you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. And you should have 12 clusters of 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. If you do, you're ready for round 5. If you're switching colors, attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters, and then chain 3. Double crochet in the same space. Then double crochet 2 in between the second and third stitches of the next cluster. 1, 2, going in right after that second one. We're going to make 2 double crochet stitches. Then we're going to double crochet 2 in between this current cluster and the next one here. It's going to go right here. 1 and 2. I'll show you one more time. Double crochet in between the second and third stitches of the next cluster. 2 double crochet stitches. And then work 2 double crochet stitches in between the current cluster and the next cluster. 1 and 2. Continue like that all the way around, and I will meet you at the end. When you reach the end of round 5, you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join, and you should have a total of 24 clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. If you do, you're ready for round 6. If you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters, and then chain 3. We're going to double crochet in the same space, and then we're going to double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters. I'll show you one more time, but that's what it's going to look like all the way around. Just double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters. Just like that, and I will meet you here when you're almost done. Alright, when you've made it all the way around, you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. You will notice that it's starting to cup a little bit again. No worries. You should still have 24 clusters. The next round, round 7, is going to be a repeat of round 6. So if you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters, and then go ahead and chain 3 and double crochet in the same space. Double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters, 1 and 2, and you're going to repeat that all the way around. Double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters. Just like that. Keep going, and I'll meet you at the end of round 7. Alright, at the end of round 7, you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. You're going to notice some serious cupping here, and that's because we are ready for an increase row. Round 8, if you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters, then chain 3, and double crochet 3 stitches into the same space. 1, 2, 3. All right, then we're going to double crochet 4 stitches in the next space between clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's what it's going to look like all the way around. I'll show you one more time. Just double crochet 4 stitches in the next space between clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Keep going until you reach the end of round 8, and I'll meet you there. When you've completed round 8, you should have something that looks like this. It should be looking a lot flatter now. Go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join and finish off round 8. For round 9, if you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters, and then chain 3 and double crochet in the same space. Then we're going to double crochet 2 stitches in between the second and third stitches of the next cluster. 1 and 2. And then we're going to double crochet 2 stitches in between the current cluster and the next cluster. 1 and 2. We're going to repeat that all the way around. I'll show you one more time. Go ahead and double crochet 2 stitches in between the second and third stitches of the next cluster. 1 and 2. And then 2 stitches in between the current cluster and the next. 1 and 2. Keep going just like that, and I'll meet you at the end of round 9. At the end of round 9, you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to finish off. And if you'd like to count, you should have 48 clusters now. For round 10, if you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn between any 2 clusters, and then go ahead and chain 3 and double crochet in the same space. Double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters. 1 and 2. That's going to be your repeat all the way around. I'll show you one time. Just double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters. 1 and 2. Keep going just like that, and I will meet you at the end of round 10. At the end of row 10, you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. And then you can go ahead and fasten that bad boy off because it is done. You are 1/3 of the way through completing the project. You're going to need to go back and watch the directions again to make one more circle, just like this one, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll do the strap together. Alright, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but in order to do the strap, you are going to need to chain a whole bunch of stitches. I've got 3 different strap lengths here, depending on the person's height, so that you can get a good fit. I'll go ahead and put those numbers on the screen here. so that you can see them. If the person's height is less than 5 foot 2 inches, you will chain 220. If the person's height is between 5 foot 2 inches and 5 foot 8 inches, you will chain 236. And if the person's height is greater than 5 foot 8 inches, you will chain 257. Then you're going to want to join this so it's a big circle. But I like to wait and do it after I'm done with the first row because it makes it easier to keep it from twisting. So I'll go ahead and show you row 1. Whether you joined now or later, it's going to be the same. Go ahead and chain 3, double crochet in the first chain. Then we're going to skip 1 and we're going to double crochet 2 stitches into the next chain. 1 and 2. We're going to repeat that all the way across. Just skip 1 chain and then in the next chain put 2 double crochet stitches. Just like that, all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end of row 1. When you reach the end of round 1, go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. And then when you go to weave in ends, just use your starting tail here to close up this little gap that we got because we didn't join on the starting chain itself. To start round 2, if you're changing colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn at the top of the last double crochet stitch. And then we're going to chain 3. And we're going to double crochet another stitch in the same space here, the one right before our double crochet stitch. And then we're going to double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters. So we've got a cluster of 2 here and a cluster of 2 here. So we're going to go in with 2 stitches right here. You're going to do that all the way around. I'll show you one more time. Just find the next space between clusters and double crochet 2 stitches there. Keep going like that and I'll meet you here at the end of row 2. Phew! Okay, if you're getting real sick of double crochet stitches, then you're on the right track. To finish off round 2, just go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 here. If you're switching colors, go ahead and attach your next color of yarn, and then you're going to chain 3 for round 3, and double crochet in the same space. Round 3 is the same as round 2, so just double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters, 1 and 2. Just like that, double crochet 2 stitches in between the next 2 clusters. Keep going like that all the way around, and I will meet you back here at the end of round 3. Okay, finish round 3 of the strap by slip stitching to the top of the chain 3, and then we are all done with the strap. I didn't line my original bag, but I am going to try to line this one. I'm not like a professional seamstress, so lower your expectations, but hopefully this is helpful. I've got a little circle of fabric here, roughly the same shape as one side of the bag. This is actually cut from an old flannel shirt. And I'm going to sandwich the 2 together with the wrong sides facing out. So this is the side that the back side of the work, essentially, and then the back side of this that has the seam. I want that to go on the outside. And then I'm just going to use the same color of yarn that I used to make the bag. And then I have this wide-eyed sewing needle. I don't know. It's got a really big hole at the top, okay? But it's just sharp enough to actually go through the fabric, which is nice. And this is kind of a preference thing, but I like to use the back stitch for these. So I'm going to go through 1 stitch through the fabric on the other side, and then I'm going to go back 1 and out through the stitch next to it. Then I go forward 2 in front of the last stitch that came out, and then I go back 1. This is just a little bit more secure than your typical running like in out stitch. I'll show you one more time. So count 2 over from where the last string is poking out, and then just go in back 1 behind it. And I'm gonna do this all the way around until I have like 2 or 3 inches left, and then I'll meet you here and show you how to finish it up. Okay, so now I have it sewn up most of the way. There's just a little opening here that I have left open. I'm going to turn this inside out, so it's gonna take some maneuvering, but I'm just gonna push everything up through this little opening. It's gonna look really awkward and lumpy for a sec, but it is going to hide all of that stitch work, and when we get the 2 sides of the bag together, that's all going to even out. So these stitches have loosened a little bit, so I'm going to pull on either side of the tail here, and then I'm just going to finish sewing up this little hole. These stitches are going to be visible, but only from inside the bag, so not really a big deal in my opinion anyway. And I like to just use the mattress stitch for this. In one side, back out through one side into the other side, and then back out through the same side. They're not quite lining up, so I'm going to smush these together a little bit more. Oh, missed a stitch there. So yeah, these stitches are visible and they're not that cute, but they're going to be inside the bag, and I really just can't be bothered to care today. I'm going to double knot my ends, and you know, I could weave them in, or I could just tuck them inside between the lining and the crochet. So that's what I'm going to do, because I don't feel like doing that right now. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to put the bag together. Okay, so for the attachment part, you're going to need 2 stitch markers, or you can use 2 contrasting pieces of yarn. You're going to put your stitch marker in between any 2 clusters, and then you're going to count 13 clusters away from this first cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then you're going to put your second stitch marker in between the 13th and 14th clusters. Then you're going to grab your bag strap, figure out where the seam is. That should go on the bottom, and then just wrap this around here, and then move your stitch marker so that it's holding on to both the strap and the circle. Alright, so then we're going to be working starting from our first marker here with our main color of yarn. We're going to attach the yarn right where the first stitch marker is, and we want to make sure we're working through both layers, the strap layer and the circle layer. So we're going to start with a chain 1. A little tricky with that stitch marker there. Then we're going to single crochet 2 stitches in the same space. 1 and 2. Then we're going to single crochet in between the next 2 clusters on the strap and the bag. So find the next space here, and then do 2 more single crochet stitches. Okay, and you're just going to repeat that all the way around to your second marker. I'll show you one more time. Find the next gap between clusters on the strap, and then find the next gap on the bag and single crochet 2. All right, I'll meet you when you get to the other side. Now, because we really just eyeballed it, it's totally normal if you end up with unequal lengths here. You can actually, at this point, go ahead and take the stitch marker out of the strap part. And I've just got a couple more here. You want your last 2 single crochet stitches to go into the space with the stitch marker. Okay, so now we are going to continue crocheting just on the strap, and we're going to be doing the same thing, just 2 single crochet stitches in between each cluster, but just on the strap this time. You're going to go all the way down the side, all the way back around, and when you come back to that first marker, go ahead and fasten off, and then I'll meet you here for the second side of the bag. All right, when you're ready to do the second side, just go ahead and plunk that second circle on top, transfer the stitch markers from the bottom to the top in the same way that we did last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then go in between the 13th and 14th stitches here. And you don't really need to put it on the strap. It's already attached on this side. So just go ahead and attach on the marker 1 here, go around to marker 2, and then just work on the side of the bag or on the side of the strap until you're done with the strap. And then you are done with the bag. But I will show you one more thing at the end. Da, 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 da. It's done. This pretty maroon color and the gorgeous plaid lining scream fall. I can't wait to use this, but you know what? There might be something missing. Box time! I saw a super cute bag like this on Pinterest. The company is sadly out of business, but I had to have one for myself, so I got this applique pattern off Etsy from Nella's Cottage. Mine's a little derpy, not gonna lie. I put the tail on backwards, but I still think it's cute. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to see what you guys come up with. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a good day.